There's a big problem in the online business arena right now, specifically in the coaching space, whether it's business coaching or any other type of coaching. You've probably heard someone at some point say they've been burned by a coach. I've been burned by this coach, or I've been burned by this business coach, or burned by this person. It's become very normalized in the space. And yes, there are a lot of bad actors in the space, but I feel like this is keeping people stuck. And this is actually causing them to fail. So, of course, I want to discuss it. Now, when you say that somebody has burned you or that you've been burned, you're playing the victim. Whether it's true or not, just looking at this objectively, you're releasing all responsibility. I was burned by it, not that you made a conscious choice. And when we look at this, it seems like it's particularly unique to the online business, coaching, consulting, info, this kind of space, because you don't hear anybody say, I got burned by a restaurant, unless the chef set you on fire, or I got burned by this guy who mows my lawn, or you know what? I went to buy a car and I got burned, or the real estate agent burned me. Whether it's low ticket, high ticket, I don't really hear this language. And that shows that it is kind of unique and instilled in this space because people have their own terminology and language for it. I got burned by this, I got burned by that. Even when people go to a bad restaurant, they'll say, oh, I picked a bad restaurant. The food was rubbish. I'm not going there again. But they don't say, I'm never going to a restaurant again. Or they never say, I'm not going to buy a car again. And I see this a lot in the coaching space. So I don't entertain these objections. Firstly, I don't attract these kinds of people. But I want to share this so that it might help you. Because if you're the type of person who says that, I want to help you make this mindset shift. And if you're not, you may have seen this in the space as well. So I generally don't attract these types of people. But if and when I do, I don't ever handle the objection. Somebody says they got burned. Okay, well, you have two options here. You never hire a coach again and never get the result, or you do. Like, saying that is just playing the victim. People are looking, and if you've done this, I want you to understand, when you say this, you're looking for the sympathy. You're looking to transfer the responsibility to somebody else. Nobody can help you. And I'll give you my personal story. I've spent or invested over 250K into my own coaching, information, journey, mentorship, all that stuff. Majority of it, complete nonsense. I'm not going to name any names, but I could easily, by the definition, say I was burned. I've had coaches who, at the end of our agreement, will continue dinging my card to the point where I've had to actually get the bloody credit card cancelled because they won't stop. Even with chargebacks, they don't stop. I've had other coaches I've paid and then seemed okay, didn't seem anything great, and then I've gone into someone else's program and I realized they have just lifted it word for word. I cannot make this up. And these are well-known coaches in the space. And you're thinking, what on earth? But I don't sit around here saying, I was burned. Look at me, I was burned. And I don't sit around and go to other people and say, well, actually, you know what? I was burned by this other guy. So what are you going to do for me? What special treatment are you going to give me? Because at that moment, I'd be playing the victim. I'd be releasing all power from me. And I'd basically be saying that I don't believe it's possible for me. It's up to the coach now. Because if this coach, again, burns me, well, then that's the reason why I can't succeed. So if you're doing this, you need to stop. Hopefully this is abundantly clear. You need to remove these words from your language, and not just the words, but take the responsibility. Yes, you might have gone with a bad coach. Yes, you might have even got scammed. It happens sometimes, right? But you need to take the responsibility for what's happened. Because also, if you're watching this channel, I'm assuming you're a coach or consultant, you sell some kind of info. What happens when somebody comes to you and says that? And I think this is why I don't attract people like this, because I'm very straightforward. I don't believe in this kind of stuff. Everybody's made bad investments. The day that you signed, figuratively speaking, you signed the paper saying, I'm an entrepreneur. You gave up the right to say, I got burned, I'm the victim, woe is me. You don't have that right anymore. You want to be an employee, you want to be something else, you can maybe have that right. When you're an entrepreneur, you take risks by definition. And by definition of risk, it's something that can work and something that cannot work. So you don't get to say that. So if you're saying that, please not just cut out the language, but change your whole mindset around it. If you see other people, maybe you can pass this message on, but you can also just be aware of it. Be aware of the people who say this, the kind of ways that they operate, the results they get in life. Because I don't see anybody saying this kind of stuff and behaving in this way and actually getting results in their life. And it's just become normalized now. I got burned. I got cheated. This happened to me. Woe is me. And this is the exact opposite of what makes successful entrepreneurs. interesting because, the whole employee entrepreneur space has been blurred now. You've got the consumers, you've got the business people, and you've got this in the middle. So you have like a B2C, B2B, and you have a B2 solopreneur. The solopreneurs are the people who, say they have a business, we all start somewhere, but they haven't actually built anything yet. They don't have maybe like team members. They don't know P&L statements. They don't actually know anything about business. So they're still learning this kind of mindset stuff. They're learning all the things that go along with business, but they still have these habits of this happened to me. This isn't my fault. This, I got burned, stuff like that. And to be playing at that B level, you need to abandon all these beliefs, these limiting beliefs, these thoughts, the person you were as the C, the consumer. You need to abandon that and you need to start moving away. So if you're doing this, it's okay that you've done it before, but I hope this is a wake-up call. And if you're the coach who doesn't do this, I hope you can see it around, because then you can very quickly identify who the type of person is. You can maybe sell to them in a certain way, and you can, lower their guard a little bit. Or you can just be like me and say, well, I don't work with the victim mentality kind of person. I understand people have been there, but I educate them on that first. If they say, I've been burned before, what will be different this time? I let them know first. They made a bad decision. We've all made bad decisions. We need to own that. And then I will, show them, because obviously there is a little legitimacy to it. It's not about the responsibility not being accepted. That's on them. But if someone says, like with me, this person charged my card over and over again, so I'm only going to pay by wire transfer. Very logical. That's different. That's a situational thing that happened. That's not necessarily you playing victim. That's just, people want to keep their guard up. But if someone says they were burned, then you need to be careful of that. And it's the same thing with buying different courses. This course didn't work. Let me tell you something. Most courses don't work. Most coaching programs don't work for most people. Most people who go to university to be an engineer, what percentage of them do you think actually become an engineer? Most people who go to a sports camp don't end up being a professional sports player. I understand it is rife in the coaching, consulting, info world. So I'm not here to defend the space. There's a lot of bad actors. There's a real lot of bad actors. But it's just to say, pay more attention, be a bit smarter, kind of think things through. But also when you do, you assume the risk. Anyway, that's just my rant for today. I hope that was somewhat helpful. See you on the next video.